Our next speaker, Bob Hendriksen from Steelcase. They're a little furniture company in Michigan. You know, they think they make a desk and maybe a chair. You guys might have one in your office, not really sure. But Bob's going to come up and tell us how that little company has grown into a pretty large company and the things that they're doing to be successful. So, Bob?
But was it 2 years ago, Bob? About 2 years ago. Bob and I became friends, and he told me about getting things done, and my life was changed. So you have an unusual opportunity to hear from a very amazing man right now. So turn on your ears, because this is big time, okay?
Thanks, bud. Yeah. And I only have 3 kids, so I feel like a total slacker. One's adopted from Russia, so. All right. Good? Okay, good afternoon. You guys are probably settling into the afternoon trough of energy after lunch, so perfect time for me. So yeah, I am from Steelcase. You might recognize our fancy navy blue trucks. I'm fortunate to head up our U.S. operations. So we have 4 factories in the U.S. Al Long heads up our factory in Huntsville, Alabama, outside of Huntsville. So what I'm going to talk to you about is a little about our company. We're over 100 years old, and our lean journey, and some of the major influences on our lean journey. And then at the end, I'm going to talk to you about what Paul just mentioned, getting things done, which is a methodology that we've integrated into our lean approach. And then I'm going to leave you with a little bit of homework. And then tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to help you set up a getting things done system. Sound good? Okay, so our company was founded in 1912 as the Metal Office Furniture Company outside of Grand Rapids, Michigan. So we are in the Midwest. Why are we in the Midwest when we're east? I've never understood that. This is our town, and back in the day, we were known as Furniture City. And now we are known as Beer City. So we're trying to reclaim the Furniture City title. This is our first product called the Victor, and it was a steel wastebasket. And it was a very innovative product to solve a big problem, which was people ashing into a wooden wastebasket and burning their building down. So we figured out how to bend steel in the early 1900s and make metal wastebaskets. This is some of our early products. And we changed the name to Steelcase in 1954. And we had these cool advertisements with sharply dressed people in the 60s. And some cool colors here. And then came the cubicle. And we didn't invent the cubicle, but we definitely scaled it up and popularized it. And that helped propel us to a #1 spot in our industry. So in 1973, they were building this building. What's that? In Chicago, the Sears Tower. And we were awarded that job, even though a major competitor of ours was only 40 miles away. We're about 3.5 hours away. So we had the scale at that time, and we were building the scale to be able to fill the Sears Tower. This is one of our iconic products, the sensor chair. And so when my father started at Steelcase in 1969, we were about a $200 million a year company. And you can see the exponential growth that we went through in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, up to $4 billion in revenue by the year 2000. So in that time, we built all kinds of infrastructure, including this ridiculous pyramid-shaped development center in Grand Rapids, which we've since moved out of. But we basically had 2 city blocks of factories and distribution centers just in the West Michigan area and other sites around the world. And we were 16 million square feet under roof by the year 2000. And it was full of inventory. Then some very bad things happened. 9/11, dot-com bubble burst, Enron, WorldCom, and others, and the bottom fell out of our industry, basically. We were like, this is not good. We lost 40% of our revenue in 2 years, and we started choking on our fixed infrastructure costs, basically. We went from a lot of money on hand to underwater. We started hemorrhaging cash. So 2 things really were pivotal for getting us on the lean road. We had done world-class manufacturing prior to that, but we got serious about lean when 2 things happened. One was what I just described, the case for change, and the other was a leader change. So this guy's name is Mark Baker, and he took over first the role that I'm in now, and then later he was head of global operations. And Mark put us on the road of TPS-based lean. Even though lots of people were saying we're different, we don't make cars, we make office furniture, they make to stock, we make to order, it won't work. And Mark had studied it enough. He wasn't a practitioner himself, but he had studied it enough to say the principles are the same and they will apply to us. We challenged for and won the Shingo Prize in 2007 in one of our plants. And we really started with lean production. So a very technical, sort of engineering-based approach to streamlining our factories and eliminating a lot of the inventory. And then we soon figured out that we needed to revamp our management system. That's what I'm going to talk to you most about. We also got into Lean Office, and Tim Skipper is going to speak to you about that later this afternoon. Came up with these 3 principles. When we were working with the Shingo folks, they showed us that we were too tool-based. We had taken kind of a shotgun tool-based approach. We would go to a conference or go to Toyota and we'd see a tool and we would spread it all over the company, sort of hammers looking for nails type approach. We did so many things wrong with our adoption of lean, you wouldn't believe it, but that was one of them. But they taught us that we wanted to be principle-based, and they had this house, and then later it was a diamond with these highly theoretical principles. And we looked at all that, and we boiled it down to these 3 simple principles. We said that we really want things to flow based on customer demand, and our goal is 100% pure value add. We'll never get there, but that's our goal. And then we want to kind of hold it all together with good processes, and we want to be disciplined to those processes that are capable, reliable, flexible, and all the other ables you could think of. And then thirdly, we want a culture that's taking all of that and making it better, where everyone is engaged. So those are our 3 principles. Then we lined up our priorities, and we said, instead of debating what trumps what, we're going to write down what our priorities are. And these align with our core values. So basically, take care of our people, take care of our customers with quality and on-time delivery, then take care of ourselves. Jim Hackett is now the CEO of Ford Motor Company. He was our CEO for about 20 years, and he said in this speech and many speeches that lean saved the company. The adoption of lean and using it to modernize our industrial system saved the company. So now we operate on about the same volume. We just closed our second quarter, and we were just shy of $1 billion in revenue. So with a footprint of about 4 million square feet. So 75% footprint reduction because, again, all those factories that we built in the 80s and 90s were full of inventory. This is our head of operations now, Bob Christakis. He's actually a computer scientist by trade. He used to be our CIO and is now my boss. And what he's doing is helping us carefully integrate the latest technology and the use of data and automation into our lean approach. And I say carefully because you can swing the pendulum too far, add a bunch of unnecessary technology, and really jack up your lean systems, right? Am I right? So Bob's helping us with that. This is some of our newer products. This is my shameless plug for some of our products if you're not catching on to that. But that chair is called Less Than 5. It's carbon fiber. It's less than 5 pounds. And this is the silk chair. And all the while, I mentioned it earlier, we were building this thing that we call our lean management system. So if you come to Steelcase, you'll hear the term LMS. That's our lean management system. And what we found is that we've needed to put as much work into the management system as we did in synchronizing the production and information flow. And we totally didn't get that at first. We were value stream mapping, we were relaying out cells, rebalancing cells. We were doing sort of the engineering work of lean and totally missed the boat on this. And it took us years to really develop this system, and we're still working on it. Some of our key influences were obviously the books by Dr. Leiker, and we're also pretty big into the 4 disciplines of execution by the Covey folks. We've integrated that into our lean system. Joy Inc. is a book by a remarkable guy named Rich Sheridan, who owns a company called Menlo Innovations in Ann Arbor. Anybody ever been to Menlo? Yeah, so if you ever go to Detroit or Ann Arbor, you got to go to Menlo. They develop software, but they use they're kind of pioneers of Agile, but if you go there, you might say, it's a lean system. And Rich will say, it's our system, and it works, and it provides value to the customer. And then getting things done. And then in recent years, we've become absolute raving fans of Paul's work. And what Paul has brought to Steelcase through 2-second lean and through the videos and through the inspiration of you guys in a huge way has been that third bubble of our principles, which we never really got full engagement. And we still don't have it. But that true culture of continuous improvement, where everyone is making small improvements every day, we were still very event-based until we got into this. All right. Paul's been to Steelcase a couple times, and so we've been really following what we see online and the connections from Seating Matters and Cambridge and FastCap, and we cannot thank you guys enough. It has been absolutely transformative to how we operate. So we've got WhatsApp channels for each of our sites, and then we've got key people in each of our plants that are watching the videos in the other sites and sharing. We're even connected with Seating Matters. Our chair plant and Seating Matters in Ireland are sharing back and forth, which is awesome, and that's what this community brings. Over 1,300 improvement videos, and it's totally transformed our engagement system. Okay, getting things done, which is the main thing that I was asked to speak to you about. Starting with why. So here's the why. We had this epiphany, maybe epiphanet, that continuous improvement is all about getting things done, right? And as some of us started practicing getting things done individually, we said, hey, these principles could be applied to how we operate and how we run these big $500, $700 million factories. And if there's one thing you remember about getting things done, it's this concept, that your mind is for having ideas, solving problems, innovating, not for holding them. Your mind is a terrible file cabinet. We make file cabinets if you need one. It's a terrible tracking system. So we said, what if we could take those innovative ideas and solutions to problems and people's commitments and turn them into action in a very systematic way? So we started teaching folks at Steelcase getting things done. A few of us learned it. Tim, myself, this is Brad Vernier, one of our vice presidents. We all got into it, and it helped us huge. Like Paul said. When Paul said that he got 30% more effective, he got 30% more done after getting things done, and anybody who's been around this guy knows he gets a lot done. We knew that we were onto something. So we started teaching people all over the world. So this is our plant in Malaysia. And we've trained now close to 3,000 people with no executive sponsorship, no budget, and all voluntary. And every single workshop fills to capacity because people see the power of getting things done. It's really lean for your brain. And a warning to you because it's deceptively simple. Okay, it's so simple, you'll wonder if it actually works. Now, I was going to print these out and hand them out, and Paul said, just let everybody take a picture of the screen. Save the waste of printing it out. But you can find this framework and the one I'm about to show you online as well. Print it out if you want. But it's got 5 phases to sort of gaining control of what's coming your way. There was a recent study that said that we have about 170 newspapers worth of information coming our way every day. And it's on each of us to process through that and decide what, if anything, we need or should do about it. These 5 steps help get at that. So it's capture, process, organize, review, and do. So capture means write it down. Don't keep anything in your head. I have nothing up here. Blank canvas. And you capture into an inbox of some sort. Then you go through a few times a day, not all the time, and you go through and you process the things that you've captured, whether it be captured in your email, captured in your inbox, in a tool, and you make decisions. What, if anything, do I need to do with what's been captured? Then you organize the results of that, you review it regularly, and you take action such that you feel good about what you're doing, and more importantly, you feel good about what you're not doing. Make sense? Here's the processing workflow. So when you go into processing mode, there's this decision tree that helps you go through and make ninja-like decisions on all the stuff that's come your way. This is how we get through our email inbox every day. How many of you get through all your email down to 0 every day? So maybe 10, 20% of the group. We get to inbox 0 most every day. Now we're using tools like Voxer, which make it even much more easy to get through. But this is the decision tree. So basically what you've captured, you just decide. What is it? Is it actionable? Yes or no? If no, you've got some choices. If yes, you've got some choices. If you can do it right away, you just do it. You don't need to track it. But the things that you need to track, projects and actions, there's a very systematic way of doing that as well. Okay? And we'll get more into that tomorrow as we set up your system. So then we said, how could we integrate this once we had more and more individuals using this method? How could we integrate this into our lean management system? So this is at our daily stand-up meeting in one of our plants in their nerve center. So we found a tool, we found an app that's a list manager. There's many, many list managers out there called Wunderlist. You guys, anybody use Wunderlist there? Yeah, several of you. And Wunderlist created this feature maybe 4 or 5 years ago of a shared list. And the power of the shared list originally was, my wife and I could have a shared grocery shopping list. Then we started thinking about it. Hey, how many people can you put on a shared list? 20. First it was 10, then it was 20, then it was, with the pro version, as many as you want. And now the free version has as many as you want. We said, what if I could run my same system for managing my own tasks and projects, from buying dog food to a big project at work, along with the commitments of our whole team, all on the same platform. And that's what Wunderlist has done for us. So this is in the Nerve Center, and here's a couple of the key concepts of getting things done. Always asking the questions, what's the desired outcome and what's the next action? So we put that right in the center of the table in our meeting room. We also added some protocols for things like meetings. So we have sort of rules around meetings because we all spend a lot of time in meetings. We hate meetings because they're not particularly productive always. So we just created some rules, and we learned all this through getting things done. So the first rule is you can't schedule a meeting without clearly stating why you're getting together and what exactly the outcome is that you plan to achieve. No meetings without purpose and desired outcome. And then at the end of the meeting, you got to nail down commitments. So who's going to do what by when, and all of that goes into Wunderlist. So we track those commitments at a team level as an output of each meeting. We also track key decisions because some meetings end up with decisions instead of actions, or a combination of the two. So we have a list called KDM, Key Decisions Made. And they get an owner and a repeat cycle to make sure that we follow up on those items. And what it's done for us is it's created this common language of outcomes and actions. We're always asking, what's the desired outcome? What's the next action? And it's really helped us. We kept thinking about it. How could we further integrate these getting things done principles into our lean management system? And here's our latest. How could we marry David Allen and Paul Akers? So this is a team meeting on the floor of one of our plants, and they are talking about what bugs them in the meeting. And they capture that on an idea board that's really, really simple. So it's got 3 columns. The first one is a fix what bugs you inbox. So during the stand-up or any time throughout the day, you can go over and write down anything that isn't the way that you want it to be. First column. And you could do this on stickies if you wanted. Second column is for moving things into action. So capture, process as a team, decide what's actionable, organize it into 2 main categories. What can the team fix, and what do we need outside help for? Super simple. I mentioned before that 2-second lean has transformed our engagement system. We used to have a suggestion system that was extrinsically motivating. So we gave $5 for every implemented idea. We did pizza parties. It was all, and then we chased people around to hit a metric of 100% participation every month. And we've known for years that that wasn't the best way to do it, but we were generating thousands of ideas, sort of, but it was forced engagement. It wasn't real engagement. We didn't have the hearts and minds of our people. We started using this technique. We started showing people videos, 2-second lean videos. People read the book, listened to the book, and we put these boards out, and Tim was one of the orchestrators of it, and it just took off. And my favorite story about it is our whole team of plant managers and Tim were together, and we were talking about the pilot area for this, and somebody says to the plant manager, he says, "What happened to the $5?" He goes, "We just stopped doing it." "You just stopped doing the $5?" He says, "Yeah. They love this. They want to fix what bugs them. They don't need the $5. It was a non-event. We didn't have to do a big change management effort to pull it. We just stopped doing it, and they didn't care. This is more important to them. It's intrinsically motivating." Okay, so next actions. By tomorrow, have some sort of list manager and a device to run it on, because we're going to spend about a half hour setting up a trusted system. So you could download Wunderlist. Now, Wunderlist was acquired by Microsoft a few years ago, and they are building a tool called To Do. So that's kind of the future, but it's not quite as good as Wunderlist yet. So you decide. If you want the future, go with To Do. If you're a user of Nosby or Trello or one of the other many list managers out there, just bring that, and I'll teach you how to set it up in a getting things done way. You can find me on Voxer. Thanks to Paul. All right. Thanks, everybody. Questions?
Okay, so
How does the stand-up meeting chairless office concept fit with a seating company?
Great. It's cut our meetings in half.
In some way, I mean,
Yeah, so we sell,
that come up in your discussions like, hey guys, we're not sitting.
we're still selling lots of chairs, $800 million a year worth. And now our biggest growth product is height adjustable desks. So giving people options to sit or stand is great. But in meetings, we'd rather stand. Others?
I think this is a good opportunity to, Bob tomorrow will be doing a little talk on the Wunderlist. So if you don't have it downloaded, make sure you guys go get the app tonight. It'll make it a lot easier for you to go through the process with him tomorrow, and he's going to show us how to use it effectively.
Yeah. Set up an account.
Yes, sir.
So everyone knows that Bob is really one of the top trainers on this getting things done. He's personal friends with David Allen, and we do have a very rare opportunity to be able to be taught this high-level system that really is practiced by some of the top organizations in the world. If you talk to any high-level organizations, they're doing getting things done. Steelcase is one of those, and Bob is the trainer. He personally trained me 2 years ago for 3 days, and I would never, ever, ever consider going back to my old system. It was so bad and so clunky, and everybody thought it was good, including myself. World class, what we're about ready. So download the app, be prepared to learn, have an open mind, and I promise you, you will learn something extraordinary.
Thanks, Paul. Yes.
Hey Bob, how did you train Paul for 3 days?
With a lot of patience. No, Paul had a good system. Okay, he wrote things down, he tracked things, and he was getting a lot done. And that's the thing with this, is that the people in this room are already getting a lot done. You already have a system of some sort, and I did as well. I just didn't realize how inefficient it was until I started using this approach, like full in. So, yeah, it's like the people that need it least take to it the best. It's weird. And people that you would like shake to have some follow-through system run for the door. We haven't totally figured out why yet, but we think it's an awareness of drag. So people that are highly productive can sense drag in their workflow, and if you can eliminate that drag, get out of the way. Yep. What else? Yes?
Right here.
Yeah, if we're already using Wunderlist, but I know I'm not using it probably correctly, should we clear it out, like take the time to clear everything out before tomorrow so that we're starting with a blank slate? Or
Depends. So the question is, if you're already using a tool like Wunderlist, but maybe not properly, should we clear it out? If there's not a ton in there, and it wouldn't be real bad to clear it out, starting with a blank slate is best. But if it's a big hassle and you got 500 items in there, don't lose anything important. Or drag it all into one list called archive or something.
You could actually generate a new account, could you, Bob?
Yeah, you could, under a different email, if you wanted to start over.
And have two simultaneously until you're convinced.
Another
Yes.
question?
Bob, pretty good. How did you do it across the organization? You said you did it with the leadership team, and then
Yeah.
does everyone then use, sort of the Wunderlist on their phones, or is it, when you got it down the shop floor, is it just they're using the boards set up in the structure the same way?
Yeah, so the question is, how did we scale it? Through total trial and error, winging it, right, Tim? So so if you've ever seen the video, How to Start a Movement, it's basically what we followed. So we had some first followers that were early adopters, like Tim, like Brad Vernier, a few others. And we had brought in the David Allen Company to like officially teach, I think 20 of us, kind of hand-picked leaders. And afterwards, we thought we could probably do this ourselves. We were following it, sort of practitioners. And so we thought we'd host a workshop and see if anybody showed up. And like 15 people showed up. And then they told other people, and they said, you guys have to do another one of these. So a few months later, we did one, and 30 people came to that. And now every time we do a workshop, we call it an autopsy on it, which is our Hansi method. And we try to pick one thing to make the workshop better each time. But what other techniques? So we have mentors. We have GTD mentors. So those that really took to it, we kind of check out their practices and their system and their habits and behaviors as well. And then so that's kind of our screen. And then we hook up new people with the mentors to help them get off the ground with their system. But it takes a while. I mean, a lot of it's habits. The habit of capture, the habit of the weekly review, things like that. Those are some of the things we've done. But I'd be happy to share all the things that have worked and not worked. See me afterwards. Yeah, it's been neat seeing it, because it's totally voluntary. Nobody's forced to come to these classes. It's all voluntary. And yet, every single one of them fills to. We use the biggest room at our learning center, and it holds like 50 people, and every one of them sold out. It's weird. But that shows how much pressure people are under right now. Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, what's the best way after today to internalize and really learn GTD? Is there seminars on it? Is it YouTube videos? I know I've read the book a few times. What's the best way to internalize it after today?
Practice. And Voxer me with questions.
Also, last up on YouTube.
Yeah.
GTD and GTD Connect, Bob, you might mention that.
Oh yeah, so I think they're running there's a subscription-based website called GTD Connect, and it's got tons of content on it. Webinars, podcasts. There's a lot of free podcasts. There's, I think, 40 or 50 free podcasts online. But Connect has a community of practitioners similar to this that are pretty hardcore into it. And it's like $100 a year or something like that. Other questions? All right.
All right. Thank you, Bob.
You bet.